Hi, in this video we're going to learn how to animate text. In the last video we talked about what keyframes are, and kind of a definition of keyframe is that it defines the starting and ending points between two segments. The program makes a smooth transition for you between point A and point B by creating the in-between frames. This is also called interpolating. And so we're now going to use that to animate text. Let's use keyframes and make our text move. Open After Effects and follow along to create a 10-second clip showing animating text. Render it as a .mp4 file format and submit once you are happy with the results. So let's go into After Effects. Alright, you might recognize this from the other day. We were working on how to get text into our composition. So here I have two text layers in a composition that we were working on in a previous video. One has my name and one has my portfolio. So if you do not already have a text layer, go ahead and select the T tool in the upper tool menu and click somewhere on your composition and type in some words. Now you want to make sure that your switches are showing, and the switches are what are going, if you twirl this down, you're going to see that you have this animate option here for your text. If this is not showing, you want to come up here to the top of your timeline next to the name of your composition, click on the three lines that look like a hamburger, and go up to columns and make sure that modes and switches have a little check next to it. If they do not, go ahead and select it. If I select it now, it will deselect it. But if it's not showing, select that, and then these will show up down here in the timeline so you can use them. We want to animate, and so we're going to, once you twirl down your text layer, you're going to select Animate. And we're going to start off by changing our position. So let's come up here to the position. All of these are text animators within this menu. So all of these are going to be animating. Now you can see it looks like I have some keyframes set already, and to deselect those, I was messing around. I'm going to go ahead and click on this little stopwatch icon and turn those all off. And that way I don't have any animation. And I selected that layer and I just said delete. I'm going to hit my text tool. I'm going to retype my name here. I've got a very bold, I'm going to turn on, say I have to select it, right? And I'm going to say no stroke. Actually, I was having fun using the stroke and changing the color from one color to another. Let me go ahead and set the stroke, but I just need to take it down. It's a little too high. I'm going to try a 3, so it's just real small. All right, there we go. And then I'm going to change the position so it comes here to the end. All right, now I'm going to twirl down this first text, which happens to be my name here, and I'm going to select Animate, and I'm going to say Position. And once I do this, I'm going to see, actually I can name this. So my animator 1, if I right click on this, I can rename it so I can remember that this here was how I set my position. So if I want to change it, I know ahead of time. So I'm at the beginning here. You'll notice that your entire timeline here is probably gray. Go out to about 6 seconds and hit the letter key N as in Nemo or Nancy, and this will define our workspace that we're going to be working in. So to start a keyframe, you're going to select the stopwatch on position, and that's going to have your X and your Y radius here. So we're going to decide where we want to change it to. So let's say I want it to go down. I would say, let's see, I want to go from here, and then I'm going to change my Y to go down. And then let's say I wanted to then move it again. I could then move it over if I wanted. And then to watch this, I click on the CTI and drag it back to the beginning. These are my keyframes, these diamonds that you can see here. Those are the keyframes showing where they are in our timeline. Now I may want to add some other movement, and I can see that this is blue, and that means that there is a keyframe set here. I can also click on here and explore. There's more options here. Okay, so now if I want to start a different animation, I can come up here and let's say we want to change the opacity. And so I went ahead and selected another animation, my opacity, And I am going to, let's say I want to start at 0. So I'm going to take my value down to 0. I'm going to click the opacity. So I say at this point I want my opacity to be 0. And then when I get here, let's put it up to 100%. When you change the number, the value here, that's when it's going to lay down a keyframe for you. And now I'm going to back this up and I'm going to hit play and I'll see that it slowly becomes 100%. Now what's kind of cool too is when you have these keyframes here, you can adjust them by clicking on the keyframe and moving them forward or back. So if you want it to happen more quickly, you can move it up. And if you want it to happen a little more slowly, you can move it to your right. And you can also select a keyframe and hit delete. So say I have 3 keyframes here. If I took this one out, this was on my position. If I delete that one, you're going to see that that spot that I had it at is gone, and it's now going to take a straight diagonal and not go down and then to the left. And if I wanted to add that back in, I could just put my CTI where I want that new position to be and then just adjust my values, and that would lay another keyframe in there for me. All right, so I switched out my 2 lines of text to be in a little bit different color, etc. And I'm going to show you another option in here. So there are some presets that you can use, effects and presets. And I'm going to show you how to get to those. I'm going to go up to the top menu and click on the chevron, and we want to go to effects. And let's see, I need to scroll up here. And I'll see here on animation presets, if I twirl this down here on the right side, I can go to text. I'm going to twirl down text, and I'm going to see that there's a whole bunch of options that are preset in here. So I am going to look at the curves and spins, and I'm going to go ahead and drag this one onto my name, and then let's see what that looks like. And this one's called Lasso Tumble. Okay, so if you wanted to, I could then add another one. Let's see what encoder fade out. Let's see what that does. So we can add multiple. Oh, and that fades out there at the end. That's cool. All right, so this is cycling through. I have my workspace defined, and when I push my space bar, after it gets to the very end, it just cycles back through is what's happening there. So let's select one thing. If something does not work the way you expect it to, double check what you have selected. So I'm now going up here to my portfolio, and I'm going to look here in the text options and try something up there. What happens if I have this whirl in? I'm going to drag it here onto my portfolio, and I'm going to hit the space bar. Okay, so my portfolio whirled in, and then I've got the 2 different effects that I added on my name there. So what's kind of cool about using these effects and presets is that you can then twirl open the options and look and find out what it is that it has done. It shows here your keyframes, and you can see how those are set. So if you want to go in here and then fine tune it like you like it but you want it changed slightly, you can go in here and change these until you get that look that you want. If you don't like something that you've selected, you can take it off and add something else, and you can also build and have more than one effect on it at a time. So here's my animator. This is the opacity reveal. Here's my first keyframe. So that's at 0, and I can go out and see what happens when it's here. It's at 100%. And then I can look and see on my animator spin out. It's showing me there's a number of effects here to get this. See how many they've got in here? If I click on the mountains here, I can open this up so I can see those in a little more detail. Lots and lots. So there's more than just a starting and an ending point. They've got lots of other points that they've set to create this total look here. So I want you to go in there and play and kind of find some look that you like. Think about projects you're making, maybe for the video news, and how you can use this to make your projects more dynamic. So here's an example of a really cool animating text that I had a student create. He found a tutorial online and followed it, and this is what he came up with. And so he's thinking about starting a channel, and he thought that'd be really cool to add to his YouTube channel. So now you have the overview of how to animate with type. You can now create a 10-second video showing text that is animating. Render it as an MP4 file format and submit it, and then you'll be ready to start the next video.